Welcome to Toledo, Ohio for the final race of the ARCA Menards series. This is the Owens Corning 200. The ARCA Menards series, all the teams are ready.
Long day, have fun, let's go winners.
Green flag is in the air.
This is a great opportunity for these guys to showcase their talent.
It's so much more intense than I anticipated.
We have trouble, hard contact. We got a big crash. This is a big one. I think we're going to see them in victory lane many more times. We are ready to go racing. And it is a gorgeous afternoon in northern Ohio, a little bit breezy, but not a cloud in the sky. We're getting set to crown a champion this afternoon, and what an impressive season it has been for 19-year-old Andres Perez. But he has one more thing he wants to do. He wants to win. Let's hear from him. Here's Heather DeBow.
And when the green flag drops today, Andres Perez will officially be the 2024 ARCA Menards Series champion. And Andres, you've had some weeks to kind of think about this as you've held onto the points lead. What are your emotions going into tonight's event?
Oh, super happy. Just trying to enjoy the moment, you know. But also this race I think is really important. We've been working hard. I think the car is going to be really good. But just in general, super proud of what this whole team, Rev Racing, Drive for Diversity, everybody behind this, super thankful. It's been a great year, so we're just trying to enjoy the moment, and obviously finish on a high will be important.
You just mentioned it. You have one more shot to get to victory lane. Do you think you have the car and performance behind you to get it done today?
I think that guy Glenn, my crew chief, has put me a car good enough to do it. And well, as long as we start the race, we got nothing to lose, so we're going to be pushing as much as we can. And yeah, I think we do have a chance. And just, like I said, just trying to enjoy the moment too, and have a good race.
Well, congratulations and good luck.
Thank you.
And we welcome you inside. Thank you, Heather DeBow. I'm Jamie Little, joined by Phil Parsons. And this is our last one. It's been an incredible season, but a great season for Andres Perez. And, you know, he talked about it. He has not gone to victory lane yet. Do you think it's possible tonight that he gets that win as he holds up the biggest trophy?
I think it's definitely possible, and he's run well enough over the last couple of years to get to victory lane. It just hasn't happened for him. But as soon as we saw him last year, remember, he wasn't even old enough to run Daytona. He was only 17 years old when the season started, but he started piling up good finish after good finish, had some opportunities to win, just for whatever reason didn't do it. And this year was no different. We knew that he would be the championship favorite coming into this year because of the consistency he had last year, finishing second points, missing that race at Daytona. Same situation, piling up top fives, top tens. And you take a look at his numbers for this year, really, really impressive. You see, these are the guys that the company that he really doesn't want to join, but pretty exclusive company as well. Bob Dowdy, you see, three-time ARCA champion. He won back in 1980 without going to victory lane. Everyone remembers Austin Dillon getting that Xfinity Series championship back in 2013 without winning, and Matt Crafton, his third Truck Series championship in 2019 without a win. But again, take a look at the numbers for this year for Andres Perez. 19 starts, 10 top 5 finishes. You see he's finished second 3 times at IRP Salem and at Big Track at Michigan. His average finish ranks right up with all the champions we've had over the last number of years. This young man has absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. He's had a terrific 2 years, and he's going to be a great champion here for the ARCA Menards Series.
He really will be. The Mexico City-born driver. He has a championship there, so now excited to be crowned champion here in the ARCA Menards Series. We're excited to get things going from Toledo, Ohio, northern Ohio, just outside of Lake Erie, and home to the Mud Hens. Join us. We'll drop the green flag for the ARCA Menards Series next. ARCA Racing on FS1 is brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards. And by Bounty. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper. And we welcome you back to northern Ohio, home to Toledo Speedway. It's a half-mile oval that saw its first ARCA race back in 1963. So earlier today, we had a little practice, a little qualifying, and they saved the best for last. Phil Williams-Sawalich picked up the General Tire Pole Award for the 10th time this season.
In 14 races. That's amazing. This young man is so fast. And oh, by the way, he had the pole yesterday in Talladega for the truck race.
18 years old is treating him good so far.
Good birthday week for him.
That's right. Well, the Owens Corning 200 starting grid is in the pylon, and Gio Ruggiero on the front row alongside the 18 of Williams-Sawalich.
Yeah, Gio finished second in a super late model race here just a couple of weeks ago, so he's fresh off this racetrack. Chris Wright with a great qualifying effort there in third, and our champion here in about 2 minutes, Andres Perez, will start fourth.
How about our Bounty Rookie Spotlight? It's the number 6 of LeVar Scott, starting 6th today. You see the numbers from this season, 21 years old from Carneys Point, New Jersey. He's been impressive this year. He's done a really nice job.
He really has. He really had a tough start to the season. I said last week that he gave up 28 points to Andres Perez in the first 3 races, and then pretty much matched him toe-to-toe. So a great season for LeVar Scott. He's going to be second in the points, so a great 1-2 finish for Rev Racing in the point standings.
But he's going to be crowned Rookie of the Year, and
That's
that means
right.
a lot to him and that Rev Racing team.
Sure does.
And how about our Suchi Fast Track driver? It's his teammate, the man we've been talking about. He's the man of the hour, Andres Perez, starting 4th in the number 2. We'll keep our eye on him. I like what he said to Heather DeBow. We have nothing to lose. Let's go for it. We know we're locking it up as soon as we take the green flag.
Yeah, I love that too. And this young man has a bright, bright future in our sport. Made his Truck Series debut this year, got a top 10 finish in his debut. So bigger and better things are on the horizon for this young man. But what a great champion he will be here for the ARCA Menards Series.
Yeah, you said great champion. How about all the fans that came out to see our final race of the season? There they are on their feet, getting ready for the start.
I love this racetrack, Jamie. I've been coming here my entire lifetime. This was, I grew up in Detroit about 50 miles away from here, and this was like a super speedway. Every other racetrack around was either smaller, like Flat Rock, a quarter mile, or dirt tracks everywhere else, but this was a super speedway to us.
Well, it's a perfect day for racing. A lot of little kids out there. All the drivers did an autograph session earlier. Going back to the grassroots of racing. And I have a feeling they're going to put on a good show for you today. By the way, you mentioned William Sawalich was in the Truck Series race at Talladega, Alabama last night. Flew up to Northern Ohio to compete in this final ARCA Menards Series race.
Never really got on track to see what he was able to do. He ran well really early on after getting the pole, and had an electrical issue, had to go behind the wall for a number of laps. But he did get some experience, didn't get the finish he deserved, but he'll be better for it.
So William Sawalich, remember he went to victory lane here last year. He's going to be tough to beat. That Joe Gibbs number 18 team, they are very tough to beat as they get ready to go. William Sawalich in the 18. Gio Ruggiero in the 20 on the outside. Green flag is in the air. We are racing at Toledo.
That was a really good start by Gio Ruggiero. Obviously, the bottom of the racetrack, William Sawalich is a preferred line, but Gio was very, very quick off the start. Andres Perez is going to grab third.
Perez wasting no time, capitalized, picked up 1 spot already.
Keep an eye on that 55 car. That's Brent Cruz. Remember, Brent Cruz went to victory lane earlier this year for Venturini. That was on the dirt at DuQuoin.
The 15 on the outside, that's another Venturini car. That's Chris Wright completing his first full season in the ARCA Series.
Fast Florida racetrack here. Up pole was about 112 miles an hour average. Laps,
100 miles here at this half-mile oval. And there it is. It's official. Andres Perez becomes the 72nd ARCA Menards Series champion. Congratulations to him, to Rev Racing, Max Siegel. He's at the track today. Big moment for them.
Right now, he's not thinking about that championship. He's thinking about trying to figure out a way around that 20 of Gio Ruggiero.
Already catching lap traffic there on the inside.
See, Brent Cruz, the 55, is right there. A great 3-way battle for second right here.
Talk about Gio Ruggiero and his part-time effort. Has done a great job. Hasn't been able to break through and get that win, but man, it has been some stiff competition. If you're William Sawalich or Connor Zilich, these kids have been very tough to beat.
You have to remember how many wins between the two of them that they took up. Obviously, 8 wins for Sawalich and Zilich with the number of wins he had as well.
The feels like they've won all the races as of late, but you know, looking at the whole season in 19 races, we've had 7 different winners. Perhaps we'll get another one today, but right now it's all William Sawalich leading Gio Ruggiero, Andres Perez, Brent Cruz up to 4th, LeVar Scott in 5th.
See, Sawalich has opened up about a second lead though, but Ruggiero is keeping pace with his lap times. That last lap, Ruggiero was just a little bit quicker than Sawalich. We're going to have a break at lap 75, or on or around lap 75, to give these drivers an opportunity to come to pit road, put tires and fuel in these cars. Crew chief makes some adjustments. Then we'll have another one at lap 125 as we keep an eye on Amber Balkan right now, doing a nice job running in the 7th spot. She was fast in practice. She was top 5 in practice, so good race car for Amber Balkan.
Yeah, finally got some of that bad luck off of her. Went through a bad string of few races, but last week at Kansas did a really nice job. You said she should have gotten the Reese's Sweet move of the race for the incredible save she had, but she finished 6th there. It was probably her best effort all year.
I still will give her the Reese's Sweet move for that move. Unbelievable. And there's her teammate, Tony Branger, right there in the 25. Beautiful car, blue and yellow. There they're going around the 0 car of Con Nicolopolis.
Tony and Amber, they are teammates, ran full-time this season. Tony Breidinger had a lot of high points this year, but she had a burn to her foot, and she's been nursing that for the last few races, and it's just been one of those that's hard to heal when you're back in the race car with the boot on.
Yeah, I saw this afternoon she's still riding around with a scooter, and hopefully after this race she'll have a little time to let that heal.
16 laps in, William Sawalich has led them all. Stay with us. Plenty more racing from Toledo. Welcome back to the Owens Corning 200, where we're under caution for the first time today. Had an on-track incident between Amber Balkan in the 22, Christian Rose in the 32. They were running 8th and 9th at the time of this.
Yeah, Tony, riding to the 25, just got by Amber. You see Christian Rose trying to move to the inside. Looked like he ran his left side tires across the apron, and that shot his car up into Amber's, and then he couldn't get away from her. But this is not the first time that these two drivers have been together. Back at Springfield earlier this year, there was an incident on the very last lap of the race, but a tough. Both these cars running pretty well up in the top 10. They both lost a lap before they got back going.
You see Amber brings it down pit road to assess the damage. Her car doesn't look like it's too damaged. The 32, though, you could see that bumper cover is torn up pretty good.
Yeah, they're putting a little bit of wedge in Amber's car, so obviously a little bit loose for her.
ARCA officials watching closely. Should only pit at lap 75 or 125 unless you have an incident. Then they approve you to come down. You see that bumper cover there, that damage. So Christian Rose will keep it on the racetrack.
That's a good looking, almost having West Virginia car right there, but unfortunately involved in that incident and took Amber out as well.
Christian Rose, they've had the most beautiful paint schemes, beautiful race cars, some fast race cars. And now they've got an uphill battle now as they are 1 lap down.
Yeah, Christian's in a good battle for the top 5 in points, a battle for 4th really with Tony Branger. But this is what we were talking about at Springfield. You see right side of your screen already made contact. You see Christian Rose, the red car, getting into the outside wall on the very last lap, coming down for the checkered flag.
I feel like they've had a run-in since then, or at least words since then. So
ironically, they're running together again, and they will be battling for the free pass. So may not be over yet.
Well, we'll keep our eyes and our cameras on it. What do you think, Phil?
Absolutely. 1 lap to go here.
Tomorrow tomorrow, it's a huge day of football on Fox. At 1 Eastern, the Browns take on rookie sensation Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. Or at 4, Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. They'll take on Brock Purdy and the 49ers. Check for the game in your area. Remember, that's only on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
I like Brock Purdy. Although he beat my Lions in the playoffs last year, I didn't like that much. But
smart quarterback. I like him too. Although Jaden Daniels, rookie, it's pretty impressive what he's been able to do. So William Sawalich has led all 23 laps so far. Gio Ruggiero, they will restart in the order that they qualified earlier today. Andres Perez, Brent Cruz, good battle behind them. Green flag in the air once again. Side by side on this restart. Gio does a better job hanging with the 18 going into 1.
really good job, but really hard to hold that outside line there. Look at Andres Perez. He's going to try to take advantage of that. Try to grab that second spot from Gio.
Nothing to lose was his mentality coming into this race. Andres Perez does it. Takes over the second spot. Gio Ruggiero moves back. Brent Cruz, teammate just behind him.
Caught a glimpse of that 15 of Chris Wright. He's battling right now for the 5th position. Looked like he might have got into the outside wall just a little bit coming off to that last lap.
Meanwhile, the 25 of Breidinger's watching this battle heat up, trying to figure out how to get around. She's going forward.
Oh, contact.
Gets a little sideways, hangs on to it. There's lap traffic down there, the 98. Dale Shearer trying to stay out of the way.
LeVar Scott was trying to move up to get around that lap car. I think made a little bit of contact with Chris Wright. Nice save, though, by Chris Wright.
One of our Reese's Sweet Move of the race nominees right there with a heck of a save.
Yeah, LeVar knew that he had to move up to get around Dale Shearer in the 98. Made a little contact with Chris. Nice save by Chris as well as LeVar Scott. So early nominee for Reese's Sweet Move.
Remember on Monday, go to ARCARacing.com at 3 Eastern to see who is crowned the Reese's Sweet Move of the race.
Tony's car looks really, really solid early in this going here. Right now running 7th, chasing down LeVar Scott. This car looks pretty solid too, though, Jamie, that 18 car.
It's always solid. That team just doesn't miss.
Here's the battle that's continuing. This is a battle for the free pass right now. They've swapped this spot 2 or 3 times since we restarted.
That means the next caution that comes out, Christian Rose was hoping to be in that spot, but Monopoly looks like she would be the first one a lap down, so that battle rages on.
Yeah, Becca Monopoly actually lost a lap here, but I think that the pace these two cars are setting, they may be able to catch her before we get that caution. Again, the torrid pace that William Sawalich is setting right now, if we don't get another caution before our break on lap 75, I would guess there are going to be more cars that are going to be a lap down as well.
That 18 team, Joe Gibbs Racing, Matt Ross, the crew chief, they've won the owner's title 3 times in the last 4 years. And I believe it's official. They will pick it up once again as the owner's champions.
Yeah. And remember, this car won the last 3 years here. William Sawalich doing it last year.
There's something about this Gibbs team. When they are good at a place, look out. They are good time and time and time again. And by the way, it doesn't matter who's behind the wheel.
That's exactly right. They've had multiple drivers in this car. Well, Tanner Gray drove the races in this car that William Sawalich was not old enough to run.
And happy birthday to William Sawalich.
That's
Turned
right.
18 on Thursday. He continues to lead. He wants another birthday present, another trophy. Welcome back to Toledo Speedway. In Toledo, Ohio, it's home to the ARCA Menards Series. Fans enjoying a beautiful day of racing. William Sawalich likes what he's saying. He's led every single lap so far. Let's get an update on the 55 of Brent Cruz. Heather.
Well, Jamie, Brent Owens' first time here at Toledo, and I asked him what did he do to study at this track, and he said he relied on Jesse Love's notebook. That's right, he got a lot of little information on what lines to run here at Toledo from Jesse, but one thing I just heard on the radio is the 55 said he thought the motor was blowing up. He said it just doesn't feel like it has a lot of power, but they did have an issue in practice with either a spark plug coil or a wire, so we'll keep an eye on that. They might check on it during that break.
Thanks, Heather. Yeah, he's running fourth. Some decent lap times. A little trouble right there with the 11 of Dennison, but keeping an eye on what's happening under the hood.
Yeah, if there's any place you can get away with being a little bit off motor-wise, it would be here at Toledo. But being on 7 cylinders probably wouldn't get it done for him. But he's still maintaining a pretty decent pace right now as we check out our leader trying to get by the 22 of Amber Balkan. That's William Sawalich. That will put Amber now 2 laps down, which will be awfully tough to overcome for Amber, which is a tough break. As good as her car was early, got turned around by Christian Rose.
Cody Dennison running 10th. He is now in the free pass position, 1 lap down.
Good battle here on the screen with Andres Perez and the 2, Gio Ruggiero in the 20. Remember, Gio was running second early on in the race. Andres took advantage of starting inside line, second row on the restart and got by Gio. We're hearing that Gio wasn't real happy about that, but I mean, that's all part of it. You know, you get hung on the outside at a racetrack that's bottom dominant like this one, and sometimes you're going to have conflicts like that, Heather.
Yeah, I'm not really sure exactly what Gio was referring to, but he was very unhappy on the radio. In fact, he said that if the 2 does that again, I will not be happy and I will do something to retaliate. But we haven't seen any issues with them since that point. But the 2 making his way to the front, his spotter told him right now that the only difference between him and the 18 of William Sawalich is the 18 can wrap the bottom of the turns in 3 and 4 and exits better than he does. So he's working through lap traffic and also working on those areas to try to catch up to William.
Yeah, Jamie, you see that yellow line in the racetrack. Sometimes these good cars will have those left side tires down below that yellow line to try to get grip. This is a relatively old surface, so you search for grip wherever you can find it. And a lot of times it's down below that yellow line like Perez was trying to do right there.
It's Dale Shear in the 98 as the rest of the top 5 goes around. Amber Balkan in that mix as they all get around her for the second time.
Yeah, Gio Ruggiero right now is hung up behind Amber Balkan, losing a little bit of ground. He was right on the rear bumper of Perez, and now you see Perez now not even in our screen.
Oh, and around goes Amber Balkan. The 20, Gio Ruggiero, that is a teammate. Brad Smith comes to a halt. Oh, and Tony Breidinger just taps one thing after another right there. Gio a little frustrated with Amber Balkan holding him up. Spins her, and now we've got 3 cars stalled on the track.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of impatience on Gio's part to run into the back of Amber, trying to move her out of the way. She wasn't able to hang on to it. Brad Smith came along and actually locked the brakes up and slid sideways, and then Tony, you could see, drive straight into it. I don't think there's a great deal of damage to Tony's car, but we'll have to wait and see. Tony was the highest running one of those cars that was involved. She was running 7th on the lead lap.
See Amber in the 22, Gio Ruggiero in the 20, her teammate right there going around the lap car. Gets me a little impatient, like you said, Phil, and around goes Amber. Brad Smith tries to avoid her sideways, and Tony Breidinger just taps Brad Smith.
Yeah, Brad Smith was running side by side with a lap car. Didn't feel like he had enough room, so he locked the brakes up. There's another view of it. Watch, Brad's going to come along side by side with somebody, locks the brakes up, slides, just barely touches her, and Tony barely touches Brad Smith. But there's where Gio gets in the back of Amber, and she was just not able to save it. Again, lap traffic here at Toledo is a way of life. I mean, these fast cars are so much faster than some of the back markers that you're going to be in traffic the entire time.
We're under caution for the second time, 61 laps in, 139 to go from Toledo. Welcome back to the ARCA Menards series as we continue under caution for the second time. And Phil, I talked about the Owners' Championship, and the 18 has made it official. As you see there, William Sawalich, a big part of that, getting it done. You see his stats, two-time ARCA Menards Series East champion, locked that up for the second time just a couple of weeks ago. And I mean, you see 26 starts, 8 wins. I mean, the numbers are incredible.
Yeah, we have to give credit too for Tanner Gray. Remember, 2 wins in that 18 car came from him. So 10 wins, which is pretty rarefied air here in ARCA Menards Series for one team to get 10 wins. This 18 car did it with Ty Gibbs just a few years ago. So a pretty impressive run for this 18 car over the last few years here in the ARCA Menards Series.
That's owned by Joe Gibbs Racing. That's their 4th owner's title in the ARCA Menards Series. Congratulations to Toyota and everybody involved with that effort. They're a single car effort, and they come out and put a whooping on them a lot, half the season.
They do pretty good in other series too, don't they, Joe
Just
Gibbs?
a little bit.
Yeah.
Just about everything they touch, they're pretty good at.
We'll have an opportunity for a restart. We talked about Ruggiero being upset at the 2 of Andres Perez. Well, Andres Perez now will be on the outside, and Gio will be in the spot that he was in. So we'll see what happens. We may have some fireworks here on this restart.
And remember, we will have that scheduled break at or around lap 75. So there will be a little bit of a shootout here before they can come down pit road and make adjustments, add fuel, get those cars handling a little bit better, and they'll have 5 minutes to do it.
Tony Branger was running up in the top 10. She lost a lap when she stopped at that incident. Now where she is battling Tim Monroe for that free pass position right now, knowing that we're going to have a caution at least within about 10 laps.
She's got to hang on to that spot if she wants to get back on the lead lap.
Keep our eyes on that battle between the 2 and the 20. We're assuming that the 18 will get the jump on the inside on this restart. But then the 20 of Gio Ruggiero will try to do exactly what Andres Perez did to grab that second spot.
And Brent Cruz in the 55 on the outside of the second row. Heather DeBoe talking about something going on under the hood, maybe a little problem with the engine. So we'll keep our eyes there. They get ready to come out of turn 4. We're green once again. Great restart for William Sawalich. Andres Perez is right there.
Solid corner for Perez. He stays even with Sawalich. See if he can pitch him down here a little bit.
Had a nose on him. Won't let him up. They're sliding. Look at those hands working in the 18. Sawalich gets him. Gio Ruggiero in 3rd, Chris Wright. Brent Cruz slips back to 5th.
There's
Bar
a battle
Scott.
for 5th right there. LeVar Scott trying to grab that spot from the 55 of Brent Cruz, who remember may be battling an engine or an electrical issue. There's Tony Branger right now. She is in the free pass spot with just a little bit over 5 laps to go to the break.
Great restart effort for Andres Perez. This has been a fun battle to watch since the drop of the green flag. Between the 2 and the 20, Brent Cruz, he's hanging tough though, back in 5th. Slipped back to 6th.
Pretty impressive run for Tony Branger as well. He's hanging right with these drivers, running in the 5th and 6th spot. Again, she's probably going to get that free pass. I don't think anyone else is in danger of going a lap down, so that'll put her back in contention here in about 3 or 4 more laps.
She did have slight contact with Brad Smith, but it looks like her car is fine, no damage. Good speed. Beautiful paint scheme. Tony Breidinger does a lot outside of the sport, out of the seat, brings in a lot of unique, different sponsors that back her efforts. Currently running 8th.
Now we talk about the issues for that 55 right there, Brent Cruz. They'll have 5 minutes to work on that. Maybe they can diagnose something and repair that car if there is an issue with the engine or electrical for the second part of this race.
Yeah, certainly not like your NASCAR pit stops that you're used to. They will bring them to a halt. ARCA will allow them, notify them when everybody comes to a stop. They can go over the wall, take their time, make adjustments. Look at this battle.
I think if I'm Gio Ruggiero right now, I'm satisfied to hang there in 3rd spot because that will give me the inside on that next restart. He didn't take advantage of it. Perez was so good on the outside of Sawalich.
Gio Ruggiero, remember, he got into Amber Balkan that brought out the last caution. Amber back in 14th, and there is the caution. That is the first of 2 scheduled breaks. William Sawalich has led all 76 laps of this race so far. Andres Perez hangs on to second there. Gio Ruggiero, Chris Wright, and LeVar Scott is your top 5. We'll have pit stops on the backside. Stay with us from Toledo Speedway. Welcome back to the Owens Corning 200. First of 2 scheduled stops of the day, and this is the pit road procedure, a little bit different for crew members. Max allowed over the wall.
Yeah, the teams will be allowed to change tires on both these race breaks. They can add fuel, just can't do it at the same time. The restart order will be set by the order at the time of caution, which means that William Sawalich will retain the lead, and great opportunity for these crew chiefs to make some adjustments to these cars.
It's time now for our Richmond mid-race report. For that, we go down to Heather DeBow.
And we'll start with our leader of William Sawalich. He said he was just trending free. And one thing I've noticed is that it's a little bit cooler out here and the wind has picked up. So they just need to do a little bit of adjustment to tighten him up on the track bar and a little bit of air pressure. So that'll be the adjustments there for the 18 of William Sawalich. And we'll move to our second place runner right now, our 2024 ARCA Menards Series champion, Andres Perez. He has a similar issue. He said he just has no grip right now and loose on entry. So the team going to work on adjustments there. But this Rev Racing team has made vast improvements on the short tracks, and he said he absolutely loves running here and is very much looking forward to ending the season here at Toledo Speedway. But that's what they're going to be working on for Andres, is just to tighten him up just a little bit.
Thank you for the update, Heather. Yes, even though he's dominated, led every lap so far, not perfect, wants it to be a little bit better. And what exactly are they doing on the 18 car right now?
They're just cooling that thing down. You see they have a fan in the front cooling the radiator down, and that's fans just blowing, and there's their levers in the hood, so there's fans blowing, and they're just trying to blow that hot air out from under the hood. DeWalt is one of their cup sponsors, so they obviously get a good deal on DeWalt tools, and they use them.
They're getting it done down there. Changes continue here for the first stop. We'll step aside. We'll be back and drop the green flag next. And we welcome you back. These Ohio fans enjoying what they're seeing so far at Toledo Speedway. We're happy you're joining us. Jamie Little, along with Phil Parsons and Heather DeBow on this final race of the ARCA Menards Series 2024. Speaking of that, big news last week, Phil. Fox Sports will continue being the home for ARCA Racing, and you see the highlights there. Big deal. Daytona International Speedway, first race of the year on Fox.
Yeah, that's huge for the ARCA Menards Series. You see a couple other highlights. Lime Rock Park will be a doubleheader for the Craftsman Truck Series at the end of June. First time there for the ARCA Menards Series. And back to Madison. That racetrack has been on the schedule in the past. They're going back to Madison Speedway, International Speedway, great short track in Wisconsin. But such a diverse schedule, and always has been here in the ARCA Menards Series. Again, we've got dirt tracks and road courses and intermediate tracks, super speedways. It's a great opportunity. Here's the breakdown right here. You see we have 7 different intermediate tracks, and that goes from Phoenix, the 1 mile at Phoenix, up to the 2 mile Michigan International Speedway. And then we've got 7 short tracks, the 2 super speedways we talk about, Daytona and Talladega, the 2 road courses now including Lime Rock Park, and the 2 dirt tracks at Springfield and DuQuoin. You can get all sorts of experience in ARCA Menards Series, and that's why we see so many of our drivers in the top 3 series now of NASCAR racing for the championship. Guys already qualified for the playoffs. A lot of them got their start right here in ARCA.
Well, certainly the most diverse schedule in racing, especially when it comes to stock cars. These drivers get a little bit of everything. Obviously different ages for different tracks. That's why William Sawalich has not run a full season here. But now that he's 18, if he wants to do it next year, he can. But I have a feeling, Phil, this young man is going to move on up.
Yeah, we saw him at Talladega the day after he turned 18 years old yesterday, and we know they've already announced that he will run some Xfinity races prior to the end of the season. So great future for that young man, and a nice young man as well. So you like to see good people have success.
Take a moment to thank all the fans for watching along all season long. We're happy that we will continue being your home for ARCA Racing on our Fox family networks. Obviously, aside from Daytona being on Network Fox, will be on FS1 and FS2 for the remainder.
I just can't wait. Just love this series. I've talked about it all the time. I grew up 50 miles from where this racetrack is right here. And again, this was such a huge deal when the ARCA, back in the day, we'd call them ARCA new cars, because all the local short tracks were also ARCA cars as well. These were ARCA new cars, and when they came to town, it was huge.
Well, we're having a fun time so far. Let's see if anybody has anything after the adjustments for William Sawalich in the 18. He's led every single lap so far. 79 in the books, 121 laps to go. William Sawalich, Andres Perez. Perez had a little something for him on the last restart. Let's see if he can do it again.
Drives it hard down in the corner. Going to stay even with Sawalich up off the corner. Has a bit of an edge getting in 3.
He has the nose. This is exactly where Sawalich cleared him. Last restart, they're both a little sideways, working that wheel. Gio Ruggiero just behind him.
Sawalich has been really good down here in 1 and 2.
Perez trying to take the lead, and he clears him.
He's got him. Now he's going to be moved out of the way. He might not have had him exactly clear. They may have made a little bit of contact, but they stay even.
Perez credited with leading those last 2 laps. Side by side, a heck of a battle up front.
See, Sawalich can't use all the racetrack to let that car drift out to the wall. Now he's got him cleared back in front.
Well, Heather mentioned the 18 was a little bit free. They wanted to tighten him up a little bit, and this battle continues. Brent Cruz, LeVar Scott, battle for 5th.
I'm curious if they found anything with that 55, anything wrong with the engine or the electrical system. Looks like he's all over that 6-car LeVar Scott with his left sides down below the racetrack to pull up even.
See how dirty it was? All that dirt fly up when he went below the track, the racing surface.
And under that brake on the 55 for Brent Cruz, they did go under the hood. Ilmore came over to check things out. They checked all of the cylinders. They said they were good because they were all showing heat. So they're speculating that it might be an internal or fuel pickup issue. So they're downloading the data that they got on that stop and analyzing it, but he's still having a power issue on the 55.
Thank you, Heather. Well, he continues in 5th spot, just a couple behind him. Tony Breidinger, we had mentioned her. She got her lap back. So that makes it 8 cars on the lead lap. William Sawalich has set sail once again over Andres Perez. Heck of a battle for a few laps, but now he's got about half of a second lead over the 2 car.
There's Tony right there in the 25. You see the 10, that's Willie Mullins. That's a battle for position. Tony's going to grab that spot from Willie Mullins. He got a little bit high, racing alongside the 22 of Amber Balkan. Willie's doing a nice job. He stayed in the lead lap in this race. Right now he's running 8th after losing that 7th spot to Tony Breidinger.
Well, it seemed like Tony's car was really coming on strong, and she was a lap down, couldn't go anywhere with it. Now we're seeing what she has. Picks up that spot, moves into 7th. Amber Balkan, though, you saw her get past once again. 4 laps down now after contact, not once, but twice today.
Yeah, Tony's was able to run with Brent Cruz and LeVar Scott prior to that caution. Got the free pass. Remember, then she had to start at the back of the pack. We know that we'll get another break at lap 125, so that will allow her to catch up to the field and restart with the cars that she's racing. So that'll be fun to watch what she's able to do then.
Big Willie Mullins having a good race. You mentioned that was a battle for position, running 8th right now.
Remember, Big Willie got that pole at Daytona to begin the year. Such a big moment for him and that family-owned team. Daytona's been a good place for Willie. He had a 2nd place finish at Daytona. That's his career best back in 2018.
We haven't seen him in the series since Daytona, so he's going to bookend the season. He's got another solid effort here, Heather.
Yeah, and Willie Mullins actually just got a wild hair to come out and do this race. On Sunday, he told his wife, Dinah, we're going racing. Now, he's never been to Toledo before. He's never even seen this place.
and he said he's really excited to be back in the car. Like you guys mentioned, we haven't seen him since Daytona, but he has been racing a late model this summer, so he has had a little bit of seat time. But today he's just hoping to get a good finish. He said a 7th place finish feels like something that he could do. Anything better than that would be a win for him today.
Well, he's knocking at the door right now, running 8th. Andres Perez has a little pressure right now.
Remember, Heather reported that Gio was not happy with something that went out early in the race. I believe on a restart. See, they've lost about a second half to Sawalich, so we'll see how much patience Ruggiero has here, battling the 2 of Perez. Good exit to the corner, not quite able to get it beside the 2. Right now, 20 car is obviously a little bit better than Perez's car.
Gio Ruggiero been part-time in the series, but you look at the stats and his finishes. I mean, top 5 almost every time he goes out. 2nd twice, 2 third-place finishes, knocking at the door to get that 20 car back to victory lane.
Remember, he made his debut on an intermediate track. We talk about intermediate tracks at Kansas, had a top 5 there as well, so another young driver with a very bright future. Right now, he's just concerned with trying to get by that 2 of Andres Perez.
Gio drives for Venturini Motorsports. What an effort that organization puts in this entire season. As you see the cross flags in the air, that means we are officially at the halfway mark.
Be pretty heavy traffic out here on the racetrack. So Wallace just went through these cars a moment ago. Now it's Perez's turn, as well as Gio Ruggiero. That's the 99 of Michael Maples. Now he's going to move to the inside to give these lead lap cars some room. Michael's doing a pretty nice job running in the 11th spot, just outside the top 10.
I'd say they tuned up the 18 pretty nicely. He just continues to pull away. A 1.7-second lead over Andres Perez, who has his hands full with Gio Ruggiero.
Yeah, that was a 10th place car that so Wallace just put another lap down. That's Tim Monroe in that 12 car.
Andres Perez in that 2, official champion, and we see the caution is out for the 4th time. The 31 stopped. It's like the entrance to pit road, hearing that he blew up, so tried to pull it off the racetrack.
I think the ARCA officials wanted to check the racetrack to make sure there wasn't any oil on the racetrack. I think the 31 car was basically blowing up when he got here today. Every time they warmed the car up, it seemed like that car was smoking. Let's take a look here. If we can see that car smoking. You see it over there in turn 4 now as the rest of the field goes by the flag stand. So good bit of smoke. I think it's a good move by the ARCA officials to take a look at that racetrack. Yeah, he just barely got to pit road too, so that back end of that car is a little bit too close probably for comfort for the ARCA officials. So they'll get him moved out of the way. As you can see the push truck coming, and check the racetrack, and we'll have a little short run to that next break.
So as they work on Presley Soren, getting him off the racetrack. Cody Dennison, by the way, will be the free pass in the 11. He had just gone a lap down. So that'll put 9 cars back on the lead lap. William Sawalich taking a breath here. Remember, at or around lap 125 is when they'll be able to come in and pit once again.
I'm sure Sawalich would say, hey, just let me have my second half 2-second lead, and we won't even worry about that next pit stop. But you know, Matt Ross, he's been awfully good with his team this year. He can make that car even better, but also gives the opportunity for the other fellows to try to make their cars better as well. And another restart chance.
There's that. I was going to say, if I was the competition, I'd say, hey, how about you keep the 18 out and let us all come down to pit.
Exactly. Give us better tires than him.
Well, tonight, the NLDS continues on FS1 as Shohei Ohtani makes his postseason debut as the Dodgers take on the Padres. That's tonight at 8 Eastern on FS1, the exclusive home of the NLDS. San Diego. Used to be a big Padre fan when I went to school there. They were good back then, too. That'll be fun to watch tonight. Let's get an update from Heather.
Well, Jamie, I've just been listening to the conversation of our leaders. So far, not a lot on the radio for the 18 of William Sawalich. He seems to be pretty happy. Andres Perez says he's a little bit loose on entry. He said, man, I just need to be a tick tighter. And then the 20 of Gio Ruggiero, he actually said he was a little tight, but he could tell that the 2 in front of him was also getting loose. So I would assume everybody in that top position, they're just getting a little bit loose and want to be tightened up under our next break.
Thank you, Heather. Yeah, if Andres could tighten up a little bit, if maybe he could give the 18 a run for his money for a few more laps.
And you know, Gio's licking his chops now, knowing that that 2 car's a little bit free getting in the corner. That's when we really see him close up on that 2, is getting in the corner, and then he's just not able to maintain the momentum up off the corner. Perez's car is pretty good up off the corner. You can see an outstanding limited schedule for Ruggiero in this 20 car. 8 starts, 5 of those resulted in top 5s, 2 second place finishes, 2 third place finishes for Gio.
Gio's done a really nice job. I'm sure he's happy to have this. Another shot at it, another restart, just like Andres Perez. But before that last caution came out, I mentioned, for those of you who missed the drop of the green flag, the 2 car, Andres Perez, is our champion. So congratulations to that team. 19 prior races coming into here, 7 different winners. William Sawalich sets the tone early on. Jake Finch finds his way to victory lane, and Connor Zilic, well, we all learned who he was at Dover.
And then another Connor with Connor Mozek. Their Tanner Gray gets his first win at Charlotte. Zilic again at Iowa. Sawalich again, Mid-Ohio. Sounds like a broken record, doesn't it?
And Sawalich again, he's pretty good at this celebration thing. And this guy too, at IRP, Connor Zilic gets it done.
And ping pong is right. William Sawalich again. William Sawalich goes back to back at Elko. Zilic gets his first intermediate start, goes to victory lane at Michigan.
Yeah, big track, no problem. Springfield goes back to Sawalich. And oh, Brent Cruz says, hey, enough of the Connors. I want to get the win.
Back to Connor. Zilic, and back to Sawalich in Bristol. And by the way, he locked up the E-Series championship for the 2nd year with that win at Bristol.
Yeah, that was a big deal for him. And Willie Mullins on pit road. Gonna take a look at that race car. We just talked about how well he was doing, running up in the 8th spot.
Looks like there may be the axle cap. They were kind of trying to beat the axle cap back in. If the bolts came out of that cap, I don't think there's any way for them to push it back in without tightening those bolts. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. If that axle cap comes off, then there's nothing to keep that axle in the rear end housing.
So about 15 laps to go here before our 2nd break. Green flag in the air once again. William Sawalich, Andres Perez has put on a show the last 2 restarts. Andres a little bit loose. Heather reported. Can't hang on, the 18. And the 18 clears them.
You can see that the 18 really gets in the corner, especially turn 3, a little bit better than Perez does. But Perez does a nice job giving himself a gap to get in behind the 18 in front of that 20 of Ruggiero.
Nice battle right there, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th.
Looks like the 15 of Chris Wright was able to get by LeVar Scott on that restart to grab that 5th spot.
See Brent Cruz in the 55 still hanging on even with those issues. They're not 100% sure what's going on under the hood, but so far so good. Been running top 5 all race long.
And that blue and yellow car, Tony Breitner right there, right up running with LeVar Scott, right now being shown in the 7th spot. There she is right there. You see a little bit of Bear bomb that they put on that left front corner from the contact with Brad Smith earlier in the race.
Tony having a really nice run here today. We mentioned she got that burn on her foot. Even had to get out of the race car at Watkins Glen, and her crew chief, Kaden Lapsevich, jumped in and finished the race for her. She said how agonizing that was to get out of your race car. But she's been in a lot of pain, still nursing that injury, but this certainly is the best effort she's had since burning her foot, Heather.
She says she has an appointment next week to get it checked out, but she says it is definitely improving. But you mentioned her crew chief, Caden Lapsevich. Caden is a great driver. He's actually won 3 times here at Toledo. Twice he won the Glass City 200, so he was giving her some tips on this racetrack. He says this track's not super technical, but you really need to drive it. You almost need to be out of control to be fast. So they've really been working together on her speed since she only has 1 start here back in 2022.
Caden Lapsevich, she's like a driver coach, the crew chief, and oh, by the way, I can take the reins if you need to.
Good battle here. The 20th, Ruggiero got inside the 2 of Perez.
He is trying so hard, Phil. He just can't get around the 2 of Perez.
Perez held him off. See, they've lost about a second half to the 18 of Sawalich. Inside of 10 to go before that next break. I think right now Ruggiero said, let me try to grab that second spot, see if I can do anything on the restart with Sawalich.
Working their way around lap traffic. You said it, it's just part of life when you race at this half-mile oval. Gotta be heads up, they all get around just fine. William Sawalich continues to lead. Andres Perez, Gio Ruggiero, Brent Cruz, Chris Wright in 5th. LeVar Scott in 6th, and Tony Breidinger hangs on right now in 7th.
Yeah, I think right now Ruggiero would just love some clean racetrack, not have to worry about any lap cars and see if he can do anything. You see Sawalich lost a good bit of ground. He's only about 3-4 car lengths ahead. He had almost a 2-second lead just 2 laps ago. And they're there. See, Sawalich is wasn't even one of the top 5 fastest cars early, and now he was the 5th fastest that last lap.
Look at Chris Wright, the 15, shown as the fastest that last lap. Ruggiero on the move, even though he's caught behind the 2, trying to get around him. It's been, I feel like, about 30 laps he's been in this situation.
He's going to be out of time. We're going to see that caution for the race break here in another lap or so.
There you go. You saw Sawalich picked it up there, had some clear track ahead, was fastest last lap.
Perez is going to hold on here. That caution will be coming out within the next lap or so. Be the final opportunity for these crew chiefs to make some changes and try to make these cars better for that last 75 lap run.
125 laps, 75 to go, and there is the caution. This is our second stage break, or I shouldn't say stage, that's in NASCAR, but this is our
it's
schedule.
Like a stage.
It
Like
is
a
kind
stage.
of.
We just don't give any points out.
That's right. So our second break of the day. This will be the final opportunity to work on those race cars, get them tuned up, get new tires, and some fuel. William Sawalich will lead them down pit road after this. So much history right here at Toledo Speedway. First race back in 1963. This is the 84th race here. Look at the winners. Todd Gilliland, just a kid.
He had just turned 15 years old. Zane Smith, how about Chandler Smith? Sam Mayer, one of 3 wins in a row here at Toledo.
Of course, Ty Gibbs that year won about everywhere.
Sammy Smith in the 18 car. William Sawalich made it 3 in a row for the 18 car back in 2023.
Hoping to make it 4 in a row.
This is Toledo. Jamie. See, I told you this is Toledo.
The location, I have so much family up in this area, and it's just beautiful. Lake Erie, great fishing.
As I mentioned, only 50 miles from where I grew up, so I used to go to a lot of Mud Hen games. You talk about the Toledo Mud Hens and the Toledo Storm, the East Coast Hockey League team. A buddy of mine used to be the coach of that team, so I went to a lot of Toledo Storm games as well.
Well, I knew nothing about the Mud Hens until I started covering the ARCA series with you, Phil. So
that's right.
Your wealth of knowledge is appreciated.
Well, Detroit Tiger, AAA team,
well,
so
yes, of course.
Near and dear to my heart.
All right, here we go. 71 to go at the line. Andres Perez, William Sawalich. These two neck and neck on these restarts. Can Perez hang on the outside? He's got a nose ahead of him.
He's got a nose ahead of him, not quite able to clear him.
It's almost like a carbon copy time and time again.
Exactly. Remember, new tires, these are as good as these cars are going to be. If Perez is going to get by him on the outside, he's going to have to do it now.
18 clears him. William Sawalich takes the lead over Andres Perez, and they're battling side by side behind him.
Looks like a pace lap behind him from third on back.
Brent Cruz, Gio Ruggiero, side by side teammates. 55, they thought his car was a little sick, had an engine issue, but he seems to be hanging on just fine. Look at this, Chris Wright pushing his way in.
Strong move by the 15 of Chris Wright to get by Brent Cruz.
Bill, I guess they got the note. It's go time.
It's go time, exactly. No more stops. No more timeouts.
Well, Chris Wright in that move, perhaps a Reese's Sweet Move of the race nominee. Watch this. Oh, you teammates are there? Look out, coming through.
There was contact between the 55 and the 20, and Chris Wright took advantage of it. Nice move.
Remember, Monday morning, visit ARCARacing.com at 3 Eastern to see who is crowned Reese's Sweet Move of the race. Look at Breidinger.
LeVar Scott able to get by Brent Cruz. I don't think they've been able to repair that 55 car. It doesn't look like it's obvious that it's off the pace, but it certainly is. Just a little bit. Let's see if Tony can run up there and catch that 55 of Cruz.
You see the left front headlight on that 25 for Tony Breidinger had a little bit of damage involved in that incident earlier in the race. She went a lap down. She has battled back, now trying to find a way around her teammate Brent Cruz. I keep saying teammates, but there's 5 Venturini cars out there, all very stout today.
We talked about the season. LeVar Scott, a Rookie of the Year season for him. So consistent. 10 top 5 finishes coming into this race. He matched his teammate Andres Perez with 10 top 5 finishes. Again, his first full year here in the ARCA Menards series. Doing a terrific job, going to finish second in points.
LeVar Scott, we're talking about in the 6th. I think the highlight to me this year was Elko when he finished second. Came so close to winning there, and it was the closest 3-wide finish we have ever seen in the series.
Was he 1/100th of a second behind or something like that? It was crazy.
Such an amazing finish. Lightning in the background. It was incredible. I know he came so close. Had a little bit of heartbreak. Hasn't found victory lane yet. But he's done a great job in carrying home Rookie of the Year honors. It's a great thing. You could remove that yellow stripe off the back of that bumper.
Right. That's right. He certainly hasn't driven like a rookie, though. He's driven like a seasoned veteran. We haven't talked a lot about Chris Wright. Chris Wright's been solid as well. He's going to finish third in points with some great finishes. He had a run. You talk about LeVar Scott finishing second by 100th of a second. Well, I think Chris Wright was third by about 200ths of a second, sideways across the line at that race you were talking about.
Chris Wright in the 15, you know, he was a road course ace. And he came in, wanted to learn ovals, ran a little bit in the ARCA series, and then finally said, I'm going full time. So he has ran every race here in the ARCA Menards series.
Had that runner-up finish at Talladega. Really done a nice job here. He's been that steady guy that Venturini has had in the car all year long.
He is steady. Doesn't ruffle a lot of feathers, does his job.
See him dip those left side tires down below the yellow line. No out of bounds here at Toledo. Wherever you could find grip, if you have to drive all 4 tires below the yellow line through the grass, so be it.
So William Sawalich continues to lead here. 9 cars on the lead lap. Willie Mullins holding down that 9th spot. Christian Rose just behind him. He's in the free pass position. Was 2 laps down. He got 1 back on that last caution.
Brent Cruz all over the back of LeVar Scott in that battle for 5th. Who's going to get to the inside of him?
He's looking. These 2 have battled tooth and nail since the beginning.
LeVar was able to use the 0.6 of Nate Moeller for a pick getting in the corner. Here's the 99 of Michael Maples. Michael is full-time here in the series this year, driving another car for Andy Hillenberg. Michael was mostly a dirt track racer. That's him in the 99. Back in Texas as the 55 of Brent Cruz tries to work to the inside of LeVar Scott.
Trying to take
He's
advantage,
got it
and he
now.
does
He's
it.
got it.
Maples on the outside. Brent Cruz gets it. Oh, sideways, LeVar. Tries to take that spot back.
I was just kidding about driving through the dirt, Jamie, but I think LeVar heard me.
Did not want to give that up as we have 50 laps to go here from Toledo Speedway. You're not missing anything up front. William Sawalich continues to lead. 1.8 seconds over Gio Ruggiero.
And yes, Gio Ruggiero, he was able to grab that second spot while we were watching LeVar Scott and Brent Cruz battle. Gio Ruggiero was able to get by that 2 of Perez, and looking to put about 6 car lengths on him now.
He has his sights set on the 18. Is there enough time to reel him in?
Just under 2 seconds behind. Let's see. We'll watch the scoring monitor and see what it looks like. He was faster that lap then. Sawalich by about 1/10.5, but Sawalich may have had to pass that 12 of Tim Monroe during that lap.
Well, it's impressive. Dip those tires below. This could be a Reese's sweet move of the race nominee.
I should get half credit for that. I told him he could drive down through the dirt if he needed to. But a nice move by Brent Cruz to take advantage of LeVar being held up a little bit by Michael Maples in the 99, and it cost LeVar a spot. We might get him some Reese's candy, but we might cost him a spot.
How about those half-pound cups we got last week? Remember to visit ARCARacing.com on Monday at 3 Eastern to see who is crowned the Reese's Sweet Move of the race. And I believe that's 3 nominees we've had so far.
We have, and that's a great battle for the 3rd spot. Talking about 3, Chris Wright is right there. Perez's car has fallen off a little bit after this last break. Chris Wright is all over him. See the 18 get held up a little bit by Willie Mullins in the 10.
Wow.
That cost him about a half a second to Ruggiero. There goes Chris Wright. Trying to grab that. Ooh, caution's on the racetrack.
Caution is out for the 6th time. The 12 goes around. That's Tim Monroe. He was running 11th at the time. So just before that, we saw William Sawalich get around Mullins in 9th. So that makes it 8 cars on the lead lap.
Be a great opportunity for Ruggiero to start on the front row. He'll get a chance to start on the outside of Sawalich. He's been able to watch what Andres Perez did on 3 or 4 or 5 different restarts to try to drive that thing hard down at turn number 1. Keep Sawalich pitched down. We'll see if Ruggiero has any opportunity maybe to try to grab this lead from Sawalich.
Be a new view for him, restarting on the front row. See if he has something on these restarts for the 18. Our first look at what happened to the 12. Got sideways.
He turned down into looked like Amber Balkan, possibly in the 22. Don't know if he was trying to come to pit road, whether he had an issue or was just trying to really to get out of Amber's way.
He has some damage on the left front as he makes it down pit road after this spin right there.
Tim was running in the 12th spot. Trying to check and see if he has some sort of issue. The way they're pushing the car, maybe they feel like he has a track bar issue or something like that. We're hearing it was actually Brent Cruz that was moving by the 12 of Tim Monroe when they made contact. I don't think it's going to hurt the 55 of Brent Cruz at all. Brent's right now in the 5th spot.
You see the General Tire logo completely gone on the left rear. And also, did you see all the General Tire down the side of his race car? There was certainly contact.
Cody Dennison, the 11, will get the free pass. That'll put us back to 8 cars on the lead lap.
Under caution here, 40 laps from Toledo Speedway before we crown the champion. ARCA Racing on FS1 is brought to you by General Tire. General Tire delivers the freedom to explore. And by Reese's. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Reese's, not sorry. Let's get an update on the 20, Heather.
And for the first time, we're going to see Gio Ruggiero start from that front row. And I was listening to his radio communication, and his crew chief, Kevin Reed Jr., told him in lap traffic you were catching the 18 there. He said, I don't know if he has us straight up when it comes to speed, but this is our shot to see what we got. And in talking to Gio Ruggiero earlier, like I mentioned, he said he really wants to win here at Toledo after he let that Glass City 200 get away. And Brent Cruz said to me, hey, have you seen this guy? When he wants to win a race, he's like a little gremlin. So we'll see if that gremlin personality comes out in the 20 right here.
He's about to put those elbows up, Heather. Talked about the great finishes he's had, but looking for that first win, how good it would feel to stop the 18 car. This is his opportunity.
He saw the two of Andres Perez hang in there on several different restarts. It's all about getting down in turn number one. The launch, obviously, it's a huge advantage to the 18 of Sawalich, but he's the only one that can launch first, so it has to be more reactionary for Ruggiero. We'll see how good he is right here.
36 laps to go from Toledo Speedway. William Sawalich on the inside has dominated today and led 159 laps. Gio Ruggiero restarting for the first time on the front row. Not the greatest restart. Andres Perez pounces. They're side by side behind the 18.
He might lose that second spot to Perez. No, he's going to beat Perez down in the corner. He's got second back.
William Sawalich back to the point.
Good battle for fourth. Right behind the top three. You see him side by side. LeVar Scott the 6, Chris Wright the 15.
Brent Cruz in the 55. He came down pit road to take a look. They may have had a flat right front, Phil.
Yeah, they definitely had to clearance that right front from the contact with Tim Monroe. Look at Tony Bringer. She's going to try to take advantage of that inside. Chris Wright's going to pull back down in front of her.
Entrini Motorsports, it's a freight train behind the 6, LeVar Scott. As their single file, William Sawalich continues to lead Gio Ruggiero just under a second.
Sawalich really only looks vulnerable on those restarts, and it wasn't really vulnerable on that one at all. It was a great start. Actually almost cost Ruggiero second because Sawalich got such a great start. But once we get straightened out and get single file, then Sawalich is able to really put down some lap times, already over 8/10 of a second lead.
This is the 20th and final ARCA Menards Series race of the season. We've had 6 cautions today for 30 laps, 8 different lead changes, but one dominator in William Sawalich as he continues to lead here, picking up right where he left off a year ago when he drove to victory lane after leading 111 laps that year.
Amazing season for that young man and that team. 8 wins for Sawalich, 2 for Tanner Gray. This could make it 11 if they hold on for the win here on the season. 11 out of 20. That's pretty good percentage. Ooh, caution flag.
Caution is out. 7th caution of the day, the 99. That's Michael Maples. Up in smoke. He was 11th at the time. All right, Phil. We're going to have another restart.
Another restart. That's the opportunity for Ruggiero and for Perez to do something with Sawalich. If that car is losing oil, that could be a pretty lengthy cleanup as well. Maybe there may be smoke inside the cockpit. That's why he keeps running off the racetrack. Really doesn't know where he is. It doesn't appear. Plus, more than likely, he shut the engine off on that truck, on that car as well.
So Ruggiero, that was his first opportunity to restart on the front row. He watched what the 18 did. You think he makes a mental note here and tries to correct it and capitalize a little bit better this
Yeah,
time.
absolutely. Right there. I believe that's Michael Maples. He's going to get into the outside wall. Don't know if that knocked an oil line off his car or what, Jamie, but it was pretty significant shot to the wall there for Maples. We can see him moving around inside the car. Looks like the ARCA officials want to push him out of the way and get the cleanup started.
So caution out here for the 7th time.
There's another shot of it. Just got up high in the loose stuff, and I think maybe just lost a little track of where he was. We haven't seen any cars that up high on the racetrack. No grip up there whatsoever.
What a weekend for William Sawalich. We talk about the race, but I mean, the guy finally turns 18. And I say finally because we've been calling him as a race winner for the past 2 years. Turns 18 on Thursday, goes to Talladega, finally gets to race at a super speedway, puts it on the pole in the truck race.
His first lap on the racetrack, by the way. No practice. First lap on the racetrack qualifying, sits on the pole.
Wasn't intimidated at all.
But what an amazing season it's been for that number 2 of Andres Perez, as well as his teammate right behind him, number 6, LeVar Scott. There's your champion, number 2, and your Rookie of the Year. And here's a little bit about Rev Racing. You see Max and Jennifer Siegel own this team. They've had 2 ARCA championships now with Nick Sanchez a couple years ago, who's still racing for a Truck Series championship, and Andres Perez this year.
Yeah, Nick Sanchez moved up to the Truck Series with Rev this year, picked up not only 1 but 2 wins this season. So Rev Racing is moving upward and onward. I mean, they've done a great job. They've just they developed the females, minority drivers. They've worked with NASCAR for years, given back to the sport, and now they pick up another championship. And Andres Perez becomes the first foreign-born champion in this series.
Yeah. As you mentioned, he's a winner in the NASCAR Mexico Series. He was racing the NASCAR Mexico Series full-time last year as well as this year while he was running full-time here in the ARCA Series. He made the playoffs for the NASCAR Mexican Series. He's been eliminated from the playoffs, but these are the kind of drivers that Max and Jennifer Siegel has had drive for Rev Racing. That's a pretty good lineup right there, Jamie.
I'd say so. 3 Cup drivers in there. Got 1, Nick Sanchez moving up to Xfinity next year. Raja Karug in the Truck Series playoffs.
So impressive, and such a credit to our sport here in the ARCA Menards Series, as well as the Truck Series. Obviously branched out a couple years ago to the Truck Series with Nick Sanchez. We hear rumors that Andres Perez may be going to the Truck Series. Hopefully it might be for Rev Racing, as we know that Nick Sanchez is going to move to the Big Machine team in the Xfinity Series. So there might be an opening there. Maybe that's where Andres Perez is going.
It's that time of the year. It's what we call silly season.
It is.
There's a lot of it going on, but it would certainly be deserving. You know, you talk about him being from Mexico City, and it reminds me back in 2016, Daniel Suarez, when he became the first foreign-born champion in NASCAR when he won the Xfinity Championship. I know Andres looks up to Daniel Suarez. I'm sure Daniel's rooting for his amigo, congratulating him on this tremendous season and winning the championship. Well, let's get an update on the man who has dominated today, Heather.
Well, Jamie, I just want to go back to what you said about William Sawalich and not being intimidated at all at Talladega. Well, that was actually the opposite. He told me that was the first time I have ever been nervous behind the wheel of a race car. But he said once he got out on track and was able to draft, he said that was a lot of fun to be in the pack. He said, I will never forget my first experience there. But William Sawalich this season here in the ARCA Series, 10 poles. So he got the pole in Talladega, came here and did it today. So I think he might be a modern day rocket man like Ryan Newman back in the day. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Without a doubt, yeah. He
Front
wins a
row
bunch
William?
of... Yeah, front row William. Exactly. How about the wins? He started off early on in the season. His first start at Phoenix. Then he does it on the road course at Mid-Ohio. And then the short track at Berlin. Another short track, the High Bank half mile at Salem, Indiana.
You
And
throw
that-
anything at him.
That
Elko.
great finish, that 3-wide finish at Elko. Then how about let's add a dirt win in there as well at Springfield. That was a big one right there. He was racing Connor Zilich for the E-Series Championship, came in behind Zilich, and Zilich had problems while he was leading, got caught up with a lap car, and Zilich was able to get that win and the E-Series Championship for the second consecutive year.
Talk about a diverse win list. He's won a little bit of everything. You know, he has a 46% win rate. That means he wins 46% of the races he runs. William Sawalich is incredible. This is incredible. Only in Ohio. Welcome back to Toledo Speedway for the Owens Corning 200 as we are getting close to crowning the champion officially and our race winner. 23 laps to go. We're under caution for the 7th time. As you see cars stopped on track under red as they continue drying the track because they had to cover some oil.
Yeah, all around the track, I think Michael Maples got into the outside wall, and it must have busted an oil line loose or something like that, so there was obviously some pretty good oil all around the racetrack.
Heather, let's get an update on Christian Rose.
Well, for Christian, this will round out his second full-time season with AM Racing, and he told me earlier, he said he's just been so grateful for the opportunity. This team has believed in him the last 2 years, and next season he's going to go full-time truck racing. They're still working out the deal with which team it'll be with, but he said it's bittersweet to not be able to work with this AM Racing group next season, but he's looking forward to the opportunity to advance in his career, and then hopefully in 2026 rejoin with AM Racing in the Xfinity Series. So that's something to look forward to for Christian Rose as he rounds out his ARCA Menards tenure.
Yeah, Christian Rose, one of the nice guys. He tells the story. He went to school earlier in Daytona before he played baseball. We talk about him being a Division I pitcher, but he would sneak out and he'd go over to Daytona International Speedway and watch the cars, and he said, that's what I want to do. He got his degree, went into hospitality, and said, no, I really need to scratch this itch, and I want to go race. So he did. He's been here for 2 years, as Heather said. Great sponsor on board, some of the most beautiful paint schemes. Look at that. So glad to see that he's moving up and on, and we won't see him here, but going to see him in the trucks.
Yeah, we talk about AM Racing, the team he drives for. They were in the truck series for a long time. That race team is owned by Tim Self and Kevin Sawinski. Then they run the Xfinity Series. That's where Harrison Burton just announced a couple of weeks ago that he is going to run full-time at Xfinity next year, and that's what Christian Rose is aspiring, maybe after a year in the truck series, to maybe rejoin AM Racing for a second team or something like that. But he's certainly been a credit to this series, and we've enjoyed getting to know him over the last couple of years, and he's really doing a fine job. Top 5 in points last year, battling right now for the top 5 in points as well, in a good battle with Tony Breitinger, only 4 points separated coming into this race. So it's again, sorry to see him go full-time from the ARCA series, but wish him well.
Yes, absolutely. We'll be seeing a lot more of him over there in the trucks. Well, you know, it is about time to elect a president. We've got just, what, a month and a half or so? Well, we talked to our drivers about their knowledge of past presidents. Take a look.
Oh crap, my dad would be so mad. He's so in history.
Man, I just went to DC with my kid. I should know all this.
George Washington, Abraham Lincoln.
Andrew, wait, I feel like I did a study on it. What's his last name again? I can't remember.
Ben Franklin, Abraham Lincoln.
Monroe, Adams, Andrew Jackson.
Andrew Jackson, that's what it was.
Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Nixon. Was Theodore Roosevelt one? Yep. So that.
Teddy Roosevelt. Ulysses L. Grant.
So I got 5 right now.
George W. Bush Sr., George W. Bush Jr.
I know there's some essential people that I'm missing out on. Oh, JFK.
Reagan, Carter, Clinton, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, Joe Biden.
I swear I went to school.
I think that's all I got.
Kind of funny, kind of cringeworthy, right? They're going to look at that. Hey, it's all in good fun. But how about Chris Wright with the knowledge? He wins.
He was zipping them down there.
He wins for knowledge on U.S. presidents. So you see the red flag has been lifted, yellow flag is back out. I've never seen a green tractor on the track blowing all the kitty litter off. That was a first. There's Chris Wright. Talked about him winning that Knowledge Award in the 6th spot.
Critical restart coming here. We're going to have just about 20 laps to go when we get restarted here.
I think the Toyota Tundra was waving around our tractor on the track.
You don't think the tractor was keeping up caution speed?
No, we're going to have to ask him to exit. Not keeping up with pace.
Not keeping up with minimum speed here at Toledo.
Warming up their tires. Again, William Sawalich has led 173 laps this afternoon. Andres Perez shown as leading 4. Some great restarts by him. But now Gio Ruggiero in the 20 gets another shot at it.
Maybe he'll learn something from that one just now. It wasn't the greatest of restarts for Ruggiero, and sometimes you can have a little bit different transmission. These guys will probably restart in 2nd gear. You know, maybe the 18 of Sawalich has a little more 2nd gear than does the 20 of Ruggiero, and that may give him that initial burst. But Ruggiero's going to have to do a little something different here than he did on that previous restart. And Perez is going to be right there as well, right on his inside. If he loses ground to the 18, then Perez is going to be right there. So it's going to be really interesting. Again, this could be the key to who gets to victory lane, is this restart right here.
William Sawalich hoping to pick up win number 9 on the season. Pretty unbelievable considering this is just his 14th start of the year.
Remember, the 18 of Sawalich knows that the speedy dry was all put down on the inside of the racetrack. Again, I think the officials did a nice job getting it cleaned up, blown off, but that has to be a little bit in the back of his mind. Is it going to be still a little bit slippery down there?
So William Sawalich, Gio Ruggiero on the front row. Andres Perez, LeVar Scott, his teammate, row number 2. Chris Wright, Brent Cruz in the 55, who had damage earlier, also had something going on with the engine earlier, but he's maintained that top 6 position regardless.
Ruggiero knows that the ARCA officials have called these restart violations pretty close this year, so he can't jump them, but he needs to be right there with them.
And he's all over him. Green flag in the air once again. William Sawalich trying to hold off Gio Ruggiero in the 20.
Ooh, Sawalich moved him up the hill a little bit.
Look at LeVar's, the 2 of Andres Perez. 3 wide. Dust up in the air. Andres wants to go out a champion, but he wants to say he wins and he goes around. Caution is out.
And we have a new leader, Gio Ruggiero. I think Sawalich was, again, he might have slipped in the speedy dry, but he moved up the racetrack, made contact with the Ruggiero. That opened up the bottom. And a tough break.
And the foam barriers all over the place as Amber Balkan has gotten into them from 11th. So we're going to bring the red flag back out. This is going to be a lengthy cleanup. Andres Perez, that was his move. Jumped to the inside, made it exciting. Oh man, what a hit for Amber Balkan. This is her 3rd incident today.
Yeah, you can see that right front corner all pushed back on that car. Those styrofoam blocks certainly make a mess, but with no safer barriers here, that's the next best thing. And you see how much damage to that car, but it could have been a whole lot worse if that would have been nothing but concrete with nothing in front of it.
It's good to see Amber get out. She assesses the damage. Remember, Amber had that broken toe earlier in the season, was in a walking boot for a while. Looks like she's walking okay.
Yeah, it does. Glad to see her out of the car. That was a hard hit. She'll take the mandatory ride to the care center.
Let's see what happens here, Phil.
It's the upper right side of your screen.
There she is. There you see the styrofoam right at the beginning of the billboards. There is where she made contact. Can look right before as the billboards start. There she went right behind that white van. Meanwhile, Andres Perez was spinning there. Here's that restart we were talking about being so important. Watch the 18 move up the racetrack a little bit. He leaves that bottom open, and Perez takes advantage of it. And here they go down the back straightaway, 3 wide.
Look at LeVar Scott on the outside. This is where it goes wrong for Andres Perez. Washes up the track a little bit, goes around. There goes Gio Ruggiero to the lead for the first time today. Then the caution comes out.
And LeVar Scott, I believe, came across a line in second. There's the contact again. It wasn't anything that the 18 of Sawalich did wrong. I think a lot of it was the 2 of Perez was trying to stay off the 18. You see him, you can see his wheels, the front wheels turning left and right, trying to keep control of that car.
Runs over the cones there.
He knew that was his shot. That was his shot to get the win. Got all the orange cones, I think.
Not their best day. Meanwhile, Gio Ruggiero, he'll be the first time this whole race that William Sawalich isn't starting on the front row. If that's how the proper order will be, Gio Ruggiero, the 6 of LeVar Scott, then William Sawalich and Chris Wright. As you see, cleanup continues. So we're gonna step aside, but stay with us. You won't wanna miss the finish. Have to see how this ends. We have 18 laps to go from Toledo. And track cleanup continues here as we're under caution for the 8th time. Amber Balkan got into the foam wall and made a giant mess as that continues. Got her car towed into the infield.
You could see how hard the contact was. Meanwhile, LeVar Scott, who apparently inherited the 2nd spot, obviously has an issue with the left rear tire being flat. He will have to come down pit road and give up that track position. We have 9 cars on the lead lap. Andres Perez obviously lost all his track position as well with that spin. So we will have now Ruggiero and Sawalich that will restart on the front row, and that's going to be interesting.
Well, that's a gift right there to William Sawalich, who was going to have to restart on the 2nd row, but now with LeVar's issues, there's quite a bit of damage too to the right rear of the 6 car. So once they lift that red flag, bring the caution back out, LeVar will have to come down pit road to get a new tire, give up that track position, and he will restart, should restart in the 9th spot. So a lot happened on that last restart. It was exciting.
It was. It sure was. I mean, again, we talked about it being the opportunity for something to happen, the domination of Sawalich for this race, but that was going to be the one chance for whether it was Perez or Ruggiero to try to make something happen. They certainly make something happen, but nice job by Becca Monopoly. Again, she's won 20 championship in pro trucks down in Florida. Just a couple starts here in the ARCA series. Right now, she's running in the 12th spot. She will inherit the 11th spot when scoring catches up, because Amber Balkan right now is showing 11th. So just outside the top 10 for Becca. Nice job.
A good job. She ran at IRP earlier in the season.
You can see the pylon left side of your screen. Brad Smith's doing a nice job. This is a home game for Brad. He's from Michigan, not far from here. He's running up in the top 15.
Unfortunate for Andres Perez, who was going for the lead right there. Washed up the track a bit, spun around. He's shown in the 9th spot right now. Brad Smith.
There's Brad from Michigan. You see Shelby Township, Michigan. 442 starts in the ARCA series. He goes back, I think, over 20 years, and I know he's been an asset to the series. He just comes week in, week out. I know it was so hard for him when his mentor and crew chief James Hilton lost his life. Brad soldiered on though, and keeps using James's number 48. I know how much he meant to Brad and meant to all of us here in NASCAR and ARCA.
But certainly glad to see Brad continuing to bring that 48 car to the racetrack.
Brad runs most of the races. He's told us before he's just going to keep racing until he runs out of money. He just loves what he does so much. Enjoys this. As the officials, fans all continue to look at the 22 car damage. She hit a ton.
You know, that's one thing that we don't talk a lot about. You know, the love of the game, and a lot of these drivers and teams are here for the love of the game. Now, we talk a lot about Sawalich and Ruggiero and Joe Gibbs and Venturinis, but there's a lot of people that make this series go are the Brad Smiths and the Andy Hillenbergs and people like that. It takes all of them, and they're all an asset to the series and to the sport, but we don't want to forget the people like Brad Smith and Andy Hillenbergs of the series.
It's the beautiful thing about the ARCA Menards series. You literally have all ages. You have the up-and-comers, a lot of these guys who run the truck series. Talk about the championship run, the playoffs. Well, last night in Talladega, Grant Enfinger got it done, going to the championship 4 in Phoenix.
Yeah, all 4 of these drivers have won championships in the ARCA platform, whether it be the National Series like Christian and Nick and Grant, or the East Series like Tyler Ankrum. Again, you mentioned Grant Enfinger with a huge win at his home track at Talladega yesterday. He advanced it to the Final 4, and all 3 of these other drivers. Christian Eckes has had an amazing season. I think only one time. There's 18 top 10s in a row, I think, after yesterday's finish at Talladega. Unbelievable. The only race he didn't finish in the top 10 this year was at Atlanta, and he was leading and had brake issues. So Nick Sanchez, 2 wins this year in the Truck Series. Tyler Ankrum, probably to me the comeback driver of the year in the series, made the playoffs, moving over to McNally Hilgeman Racing. So a lot to look forward to, and I can't wait to do the next one. Well, we got a couple weeks until Homestead, maybe 3 weeks.
Yeah, we go to Homestead. There we go to Martinsville, and then that will seal the deal. The championship 4 will be decided.
There's LeVar Scott coming to pit road. You're going to get that left rear tire repaired. We talk about these ARCA officials only allowing these teams to change tires at the break, but when they have a damaged tire, a flat tire, which is obviously what's going on with the 6th, ARCA officials will allow them to put a tire on the left rear of that car.
See Andres Perez, who was sideways after that last restart, coming down to assess the damage for him. LeVar Scott had a lot of damage on the right rear as well. I'll take a look at that.
There's Andres Perez. He's also coming down pit road. He lost all his track position with that spin, so why not give his guys an opportunity to take a look at this car. If he needs to make any adjustments, he can certainly do that. Looks like they're going to jack it up and make a chassis adjustment.
We talk about our champion. He will add his name to this list. Not a lot of times has it been done where the driver has won the championship but went winless during the season.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take this opportunity away from him yet. We still have, you know, around 15 laps to go, and certainly anything can happen up front. There's a lot of aggressive drivers up front. William Sawalich, who's dominated this race, lost the lead, but nonetheless, it's nothing to be ashamed of. As we talked at the very top of the show, look at all these guys: Bob Dotter and Austin Dillon, Matt Crafton, 7 championships between them in their respective series.
So the 2 and the 6 both made their adjustments, got new tires. They stay on the lead lap. So you're saying it's not over for Andres Perez?
No, I'm not going to count him out yet. Got a good race car here, and anything can happen up front. Again, aggressive young drivers. Gio Ruggiero looking for his first win. He's got the lead right now. William Sawalich lost the lead after dominating this race on in a 3-wide situation. So you know he wants to get that lead back, because he thinks he deserves this win because he dominated this race.
But for the first time, he'll start on the outside. Chris Wright's back there looking for his first win after running every race this season. And Brent Cruz hanging there in the top 4.
Let's do say that LeVar Scott put a tire that he had already run in this race on. They didn't give him a new tire. They just gave him a tire that wasn't damaged.
Well, they usually only bring 8 tires here. So
Yeah.
once you use those up, which we had the 2 brakes, you have to use something that you had on earlier in the race. So no advantages there.
Look at, how about Tony Brenger right there in the 5th spot? Could she get her first top 5 of the season? Brent Cruz, already a winner this year at Tocoin in that 55 car. He's fourth. I'm not sure we've seen the last of the caution flags yet, Jamie.
No, don't say it. 8 cautions for 43 laps today. It's been exciting, but these boys have had to work for it on these restarts.
Remember, Ruggiero, the control car right here, he's the one that launches first.
William Sawalich on the outside for the first time. Brent Cruz right behind him. Green flag in the air.
What a great restart by Sawalich. Can he hang in there with Ruggiero? He's got the advantage up off the corner.
And he does it. William Sawalich back to the lead. Gio Ruggiero second, side by side, right behind him. Chris Wright battling Brent Cruz. Cruz with his issues today. Damage on the left and right side. There's contact right there.
What a power move by Sawalich to grab that lead back. Good battle, though, for third. Chris Wright now has it. Look at Tony Branger going to try to move up there on her teammate in the 55, Brent Cruz.
LeVar Scott right behind the 25. Tony Breidinger trying to go to the inside. Can he pick up this spot?
He's there, and Andres Perez is going to follow him through the inside here.
10 laps to go. This right here is the battle for 6th. Scott gets Tony Breidinger. Now his teammate, Andres Perez, the champion. Gets around, picks up another spot. Meanwhile, William Sawalich is out front by a half second over Gio Ruggiero. Picking right up where he left off.
Yeah, the dominant car showed why he was so dominant. He was the only one to be able to wrestle that lead away from the outside on a restart. Chris Wright doing a great job here, running third. See, lap cars are going to be involved here.
Looking at these cars, Phil, I think the 18 is the only car without damage.
I think you're exactly right.
There's been a lot of contact, but that car is in perfect condition.
Running some really fast laps here. Inside of 10 to go. Looks like things have calmed down for just a moment. Chris Wright has a couple car lengths on Brent Cruz in the 55. But here comes LeVar Scott. LeVar Scott's going to get there, I think, as well before we get to the end. 5 to go.
5 laps to go. You talked about LeVar Scott, Rookie of the Year in the ARCA Menards series. Not giving up just yet. Teammate Andres Perez just behind him. Both have had their issues today. But William Sawalich out front. What a fairy tale year it has been for this Joe Gibbs Racing team. Matt Ross, the crew chief. They're so buttoned up. Rarely ever make a mistake. This young man, we saw every win he's had, from the dirt to the short tracks to the intermediates.
I think he's had 11 top 2 finishes this year, William Sawalich.
Just domination.
Not counting this race. Not counting this
Imagine
race.
if he ran the whole series. Woo. 2 laps to go. William Sawalich continues to lead by almost 2 seconds over Gio Ruggiero. The teammates continue battling, though. It's not over for them. That's for a top 5, as you see the white flag in the air for William Sawalich. 18-year-old hails from Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Looking at bringing it home once again at Toledo Speedway. 9th win of the year for William Sawalich and that 18 team. Gio Ruggiero, Chris Wright, Brent Cruz, LeVar Scott, and your champion, Andres Perez, brings it home 6th.
Amazing day, amazing year for this 18 team. Feels somewhat vindicated. The best car won. He obviously was the best car, led 191 of our 200 laps.
Some contact at the finish line, but not for this guy. Look how perfect that race car is. Goes back to back at Toledo Speedway.
4 races in a row now for that 18 car at Toledo Speedway.
Certainly have it figured out. There it is. The ARCA Menards Series champion flag. I know he wanted to end up in victory lane as the winner of this race. He gave it his all. But he has a season to be proud of. Sawalich has certainly gotten good at these burnouts at the victory celebrations.
He gets a lot of practice.
Yes, he does.
Andres Perez gets his opportunity at a burnout. He hasn't done it with a win yet, but he can do it with that championship flag.
He had the let's just go for it attitude. What do we have to lose? And he went for it. The end of the race made it 3 wide, going for the win.
Yeah, I applaud his effort there. Absolutely.
This is fun. Dueling burnouts in the backyard of the ARCA Series. We'll hear from both winners momentarily. Rev Racing gets the big flag. As William Sawalich will climb from his car once again.
9 wins, also so close to that magic 10 race number. Again, the team won 11, but William Sawalich in 14 starts goes
That's
to
the
victory
kicker.
lane nine times. Unbelievable.
That's the kicker. We talked last year about Jesse Love winning 50% of the races, won 10 out of 20. Well, this young man almost got there. 14 starts.
Great season for this young man too, holding that championship flag.
A lot to be proud of. 10 top 5 finishes.
You're a champion. You're a champion.
Hugs all around. Take a look at Andres Perez season. 10 top 5 finishes. Finished second 3 times this season, 5 times in his short ARCA racing career.
Yeah, 17 times he finished in the top 10 in his 20 starts this year. One of those was he was running in the top 5 at Daytona, got involved in that accident on the last lap, finished outside the top 10. On the dirt track, he busted a radiator, finished outside the top 10, and then he cut down a tire last week at Kansas and finished outside the top 10. So the 3 finishes outside the top 10 were not because any fault of his. So outstanding season.
Well, we talked about the consistency of this young man and his team. 6.5 average finish. And with that, he becomes the first foreign-born driver to win the title in the ARCA Menards Series. 72nd champion. Long time coming. Let's go trackside to hear from the champion,
Perez
Heather.
Andres Perez, your 2024 ARCA Menards Series champion. It is official. Finally, you hold that title. But when you reflect back on this season and everything you and this Rev Racing team has gone through, what will you remember most?
Well, I think it was a great year overall. Super happy, super thankful with everybody in the team. You know, it was such a fun year. I enjoyed every race, and we had some great results, so close to that win. I just left everything today. I really wanted that, but it is what it is. The championship is the greater thing, and yeah, we got it. Super proud. It's just a great accomplishment for me.
Now I want to bring in your team owner over here, Max Siegel. Max, come on over. You and your team, your drivers finished 1-2 in the point standings. They have a great relationship as friends and competitors. How proud are you of everyone on this Rev Racing team?
I don't think we could be any prouder than we are. It's a complete, total organizational effort to support them every week, day in and day out. Matt Booker, the competition staff, our partners, Chevy NASCAR, we couldn't do it without them. I'm so proud of Andres and LeVar. It's just great to see.
Now this race was difficult, Andres. You weren't able to get the win, but you had some tough battles on the restarts. You almost were able to get past the 18. Just kind of talk about this final race for you today.
Well, it was fun. Like we were second most of the race there. I wasn't gonna I was just trying to the best to get that win, and I think we did it. We tried everything we could, trying to be smart, obviously clean, but it didn't work our way. But like I said, the 20 race thing, we worked hard every weekend to be in this. So I'm just gonna enjoy the moment. Enjoy the championship is a great thing. And thank you to all my guys here, Rev Racing, Chevrolet, Max. It was a great year. I'm so very thankful.
Congratulations.
Rev Racing picks up their second championship in the ARCA Menards series. Nick Sanchez doing it a couple of years ago. And now he is a Truck Series winner this year. And this is how it all shakes out, Phil.
Hey, LeVar Scott, as we mentioned, locked up second in the points, 1-2 finish for Rev Racing. Rookie of the year, Chris Wright, solid year, third his first full-time season here in the ARCA Menards series. We talked about that good battle for fourth between Tony Breitinger, Christian Rose. It came down to the very end, only a 5-point gap. Tony Breitinger with a great fourth place finish in points. And you see William Sawalich missing 6 races and other bonus points that they accrue for running all the races, still finishes 10th in points.
10 poles, 9 wins. A winner once again, Heather.
And William Sawalich gets the win here at Toledo. 10th win on the season, his 6th time winning from the pole. A big hug there from your crew chief, Matt Ross. Once again, you dominated here at this racetrack, but it didn't come easy. Lap traffic, restarts. Just kind of take us through that final restart of the race.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I definitely got a good jump on the start, and I can't thank my guys enough, and I can't thank my spotter, Sean Treadway, enough. Really big help today. So can't thank everyone enough at Joe Gibbs Racing. We had a really fast Starkey Sound Gear Toyota Camry, and just a good day overall. Definitely a good end of the year for us.
Now, speaking of Joe Gibbs Racing, you guys once again have the Owners Championship. You guys work hard all year to be as dominant as you are. How proud are you to be a part of that accomplishment this season?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's really good. Me and Tanner Gray definitely put up some good finishes to be able to do this, and the guys brought a good card to pretty much every race. So can't thank them enough for that. It's really tough to do that, and just it's all teamwork. That's all it is.
Well, congratulations, and enjoy this one final celebration this year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heather DeBow, and great work by you all season long. That young man right there led 1,348 laps on the season in 14 starts.
Well over 60% of all the laps potentially that he could have run.
Hey, and all of you watching, you could say you know about this guy. You've heard of William Sawalich. Hey, we're just a few months away from the kickoff. The 2025 season opener will be February 15th at noon Eastern on Fox Broadcast. It's a big moment for the ARCA Menards series. We're happy that you all have stuck with us all season long. It's been fun for Phil Parsons, Jamie Little, our entire Fox Sports team, Phil.
Yeah, it has been fun, and I really love getting the opportunity to see people like Andres Perez and William Sawalich, Connor Zilic. We got to know him a lot this year through his time in the ARCA series. Some of the guys are going to be superstars in our sport very, very soon.
Well, they'll have a much-needed, well-deserved break before we head to Daytona in February. Thanks again for being part of all of the action. Congratulations once again to William Sawalich. Coming up next, it's the NHRA Sportsman Series in Charlotte, North Carolina for our entire ARCA broadcast team. Thank you so much for watching. Good night, everybody.